Hello and welcome to Stories Hub. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. On this channel, we bring you love stories today. We have an exciting topic to discuss, so stay with us till the end. Let's dive in. Sophia placed the last candle on the dinner table, smiling at the warm glow that illuminated the room. 10 years. A decade of love, trust, and devotion. She had spent the entire day preparing Daniel's favorite meal, excited to surprise him. But as she reached for her phone to check the time, a notification caught her attention. An anonymous message. You're celebrating 10 years of marriage. He's celebrating 10 years of deceiving you. Her heart pounded. A prank, she told herself. But a sinking feeling took over as she clicked on the attached pictures. Daniel, arms wrapped around another woman, intimate, familiar. Picture after picture, spanning years. A name appeared in the text thread. Lena, Sophia's best friend. Her hands trembled as she scrolled. Hotel receipts, messages, late-night rendezvous. Each proof slashed through her like a knife. She couldn't breathe. The room felt smaller, the air suffocating. The front door clicked open. Daniel walked in, loosening his tie, his face lighting up at the sight of the dinner. "Wow, what's the occasion?" he asked, leaning in for a kiss. She stepped back. "Where were you?" His brows furrowed. "Late meeting. You know how work is." She threw her phone on the table. The images glared at them both. His face drained of color. A flicker of panic crossed his eyes before he composed himself. "Sophia, I can explain." "Explain what?" Her voice cracked. "That you've been lying to me for years? That Lena, my best friend, has been in my bed behind my back." He ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "How long?" Silence. "How long?" Daniel swallowed hard. "Almost 6 years." The weight of his words crushed her. 6 years. More than half their marriage. Her fingers curled into fists, nails biting into her palm to keep herself from breaking down. "I loved you," she whispered. "I gave you everything." "I loved you too," he said weakly. Rage flared in her chest. "No, you didn't. Love doesn't betray. Love doesn't sneak around with someone you call my sister." His jaw clenched. "It wasn't just about you, Sophia. I felt trapped, stuck in the same routine. Lena was." "A convenient distraction?" she snapped. He sighed. "It was complicated." "No, it was simple," she said coldly. "You made a choice, and now so will I." She grabbed her purse, the divorce papers she had printed in a haze of anger, and slammed them on the table. "Sign them." He didn't move. "Sophia, don't do this." "You already did." Tears blurred her vision as she walked out, the life she had built crumbling behind her. But as she stepped into the cold night, something inside her shifted. The pain wouldn't destroy her. It would rebuild her. And she wasn't done yet. Lena sat in her dimly lit apartment, staring at her reflection in the mirror. Guilt gnawed at her, but desire burned just as fiercely. Sophia's devastated face haunted her thoughts, yet she couldn't deny what she felt with Daniel. It had started as a mistake, one stolen moment, one impulsive decision. But then it became something else. Something she convinced herself was love. Her phone buzzed. A message from Victor. "I need to see you. Now." She hesitated before grabbing her coat. Victor had been her escape, her secret, just as she had been Daniel's. As she arrived at his place, she found him pacing. "Rachel knows," he said grimly. Her stomach dropped. "What?" She found the messages, the hotel receipts. Everything. His hands clenched into fists. "I don't know how, but she's not saying anything. That's what scares me." Lena exhaled. "She's planning something." "And so is Sophia," he muttered. "Daniel told me she's not backing down." Lena's chest tightened. She had spent years balancing this dangerous game, thinking she had control. Now everything was unraveling. Meanwhile, Rachel sat in her car outside a quiet bar, gripping a glass of whiskey. The betrayal stung, but not in the way it should have. She had long suspected Victor's affairs, had even turned a blind eye to them. But Lena? That was unexpected. She felt a presence slide into the seat beside her. James. He studied her carefully before speaking. You call me after 3 years. That means either you need me or you want revenge. Rachel let out a bitter chuckle. Maybe both. His lips curled into a smirk. I like the sound of that. She turned to him, her expression unreadable. I don't want to just hurt him, James. I want to make sure he never forgets this. Then let's make it count, he said, clinking his glass against hers. Across town, Sophia was already executing her plan. Sitting across from Rachel in a sleek restaurant, she slid a file across the table. Everything you need to take Victor down. Business deals, offshore accounts, affairs you don't even know about. Rachel flipped through the documents, her expression unreadable. Why are you doing this? Because they don't get to walk away unscathed, Sophia said, her voice steady. Not Daniel. Not Victor. Not Lena. Rachel smirked. I like the way you think. The two women weren't friends, but they had something stronger, a common enemy. And that was more than enough. By the time Lena returned home, another message was waiting. But this one wasn't from Victor. I know everything. Meet me tomorrow. We need to talk. Sophia. Lena's heart pounded as she read the words over and over. She thought she had been playing the game. But now, she realized she was the one being played. Lena's fingers tightened around her phone as she reread Sophia's message. There was no avoiding it now. The walls were closing in, and she had no idea what Sophia had planned. She arrived at the cafe the next morning, scanning the room until she spotted her. Sophia sat with her back straight, a quiet storm in her eyes. Lena took a deep breath and sat across from her. Sophia, Save it, Sophia interrupted, placing a thick envelope on the table. You're going to read this, and then you're going to decide how much worse this gets for you. Lena's hands shook as she opened it. Photos, screenshots, conversations she thought had been deleted, not just between her and Daniel, but her and Victor, too. Her stomach lurched. How did you? It doesn't matter, Sophia said coolly. What matters is what you do next. You will tell Rachel everything. You will end things with Daniel and Victor, and you will disappear from our lives. Lena swallowed hard. And if I don't? Sophia's lips curved into a slow, dangerous smile. Then I'll make sure their wives aren't the only ones who know about your little hobby. Lena's breath hitched. Sophia wasn't bluffing. She had already lost control, and now she was left with only one choice, survival. Meanwhile, Rachel was already setting her own plan in motion. She walked into Victor's office, dropping a stack of papers onto his desk. Divorce papers. Victor blinked. Rachel, let's talk about this. There's nothing to talk about, she said, her voice eerily calm. I know about Lena. I know about the others. And I know about the money you've been hiding. His face paled. Rachel, I can fix this. You never fixed anything, she cut in. But don't worry, I already have. He glanced at the papers again, realizing there was more than just divorce paperwork. His business records, leaked, evidence of fraud, collected. Rachel wasn't just leaving him. She was taking him down with her. You didn't think I'd sit around and let you humiliate me, did you? She added. Victor exhaled sharply, realization settling in. He had underestimated her. As the news of the scandal spread, Daniel found himself drowning in the fallout. His business took a hit. Clients pulled away. Investors lost confidence. The perfect life he had built on lies was crumbling. And in the middle of it all, he found himself staring at Sophia across their empty living room. She had come back one last time. Not to beg, not to forgive, but to finish what she started. Was it worth it? She asked quietly. He had no answer. She held out a pen, signed the papers. His hands trembled as he did. She took them back, nodding once. Goodbye, Daniel. And with that, she walked away, leaving him behind in the ruins of everything he had destroyed. Sophia watched as Daniel's signature dried on the divorce papers. It was over. 10 years of marriage betrayal and heartbreak, reduced to ink on a page. She felt no sadness, no regret, just a quiet finality. Daniel sat motionless, staring at the papers as if they held a different outcome. "I never wanted to lose you," he said, voice hollow. "You never wanted to get caught," she corrected. He exhaled sharply. "I loved you, Sophia." She studied him, searching for the man she once adored, but he was long gone. "You don't destroy the things you love." Without another word, she turned and walked away, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. Outside, Rachel waited by her car, arms crossed. "He finally signed?" Sophia nodded. Rachel smirked. "Victor's assets are frozen. He's fighting a losing battle. And Lena? She packed up and left town last night. Guess she finally realized she wasn't as untouchable as she thought." Sophia absorbed the information, feeling neither joy nor satisfaction, just closure. "And James?" Rachel's expression softened. "We're taking things slow. For once, I'm making choices for myself." Sophia gave a small smile. "Good." For the first time in a long time, the weight was lifting. The revenge, the justice. It wasn't about winning. It was about reclaiming themselves. Rachel slid into her car, glancing up. "What about you?" Sophia looked at the city skyline, the sun breaking through the morning haze. "I start over." And as Rachel drove off, Sophia stood there, breathing in the crisp air of her new beginning. No regrets, no looking back, just forward.